this time, I will call the regular council meeting to order and ask if there are any conflicts of interest amongst the council members at this time. Thank you very much. We're looking for the adoption of the published agenda for this evening.
Yep. Your Worship, I have one item. Councillor Bondi asked Your Worship earlier today to add as new business correspondence from a resident requesting relief from the current animal control bylaw. And I understand you were agreeable to that, Your Worship?
Yes, sir. Any other additions? Councillor Bondi.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. When the time is right, I also have a notice of motion to put forward later in the council meeting. And I'd also like to see if council is agreeable to moving 15.2 up into public presentations. It's Councillor Vokes has raised an issue, and we've asked Kevin Money to be here from IRCA. So after we're done the 3 public presentations, I'm wondering if we can deal with Councillor Vokes' issue so that Kevin Money can be on his way.
Request has been made. Is that okay with council members? Yes. All in favor? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Then we have Councillor Vokes.
Thank you, Your Worship, and I appreciate council offering to bring that file forward, because I fully intended of doing the exact same thing, so thank you for doing that. I'm going to ask council to concur with, we have a young gentleman in the audience tonight, and he tried getting onto council agenda, and there was a small misunderstanding, or for whatever reason, he didn't get a chance to get on tonight's agenda. But he would like to do a presentation of a beautiful Spitfire picture that he would like to see hung in the town hall and presented to the mayor on behalf. If we could do that, please. It would only take a minute or something.
At this time, I had put that down as an announcement. So if we would allow the announcement portion, which is that request there, to be moved up after the 3rd delegation. We have 3 already, so this will be the 4th one. Okay?
Yes, I'd appreciate it.
Council okay with that? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Wasn't a motion, but recommendation. Thank you very much. Is there any other additions? Now, I think I had Councillor Caxero and Councillor Bondi move the regular council meeting agenda minutes. All in favor? Motion carries. Yes, sir.
Your Worship, item 5 is adoption of minutes, that the minutes from the regular council meeting of June 5th, 2017 be adopted as circulated.
Moved by Councillor Snivy, supported by Councillor Vokes. Any question? Councillor Bondi.
Thank you. Just a little housekeeping item. I'm not sure if it's relevant, but I still want to bring it up. In the minutes, 11.2.1, Champlain Township, the not willing to host, I noticed that we sent a copy of the correspondence to our MP, but I believe we should also send it to our MPP, because wind turbines and wind energy fall under the provincial government, not the federal government. So I don't know if it's just a typo, but I was reading that, and I want our MPP, our Member of Parliament, to know that we supported the not willing to host motion again.
Okay.
Through Your Worship, I'll look at that and correct that if that's not the case.
Thank you. Now, this time, gives me great honor to, well, first of all, I'll welcome Jan Mooney. Can you put your hand up, young lady? So
Point of order.
Who you are.
Point of order.
Point of order. Oh, we need to vote on this. Sorry. I'm anxious to get at this. You almost got it a year ago. So, okay. All in favor of the motion? Motion carries. So we all know who you are now. So anyways, Mrs. Mooney, on May the 15th, the Essex Council declared June to be Seniors Month in the town of Essex. Every year, the Ontario Minister responsible for senior affairs asks municipalities to nominate one outstanding local senior who has enriched the social, cultural, or civic life of our community. Tonight, we're honoring a woman who is passionate about volunteering at Harrow Public School. Our Senior of the Year has devoted many years of her life to assisting students with their reading and their homework. She is always available to provide special help to a child who is struggling in a subject, and she also comes to the aid of teachers in need of help. Although she has no children or grandchildren in the school system, she continues to volunteer. The children know her affectionately as Grandma Mooney. You don't look that old, so, but they're probably right. But we'd like to formally recognize Jan Mooney as the Essex Senior of the Year. With that, I'd like you to come up here, young lady, come right through to the front.
If I may, Mr. Mayor, while you're walking over there, Sherry Dudovich is the woman that nominated you. And she couldn't be here tonight, but I just wanted you to know that Sherry Dudovich put your name forward.
Jan, on behalf of the Council of the Town of Essex, I'd like to congratulate you and thank you for your ongoing efforts to enrich the social and cultural life of our community. Congratulations on being named Senior of the Year for 2017.
Appreciate the honor, and I do it because I love it. And I've got 2 grandsons that are just about out of the system now, but I'm planning on helping more.
Thank you.
Good job. Next presentation, another lady. Kimber Beek, Leading Women, Leading Girls, Building Communities Recognition Program Award. Here in Essex, we are very fortunate to have so many dedicated volunteers, and I mean so many. Last Monday night, and I must apologize right now for none of council being there when you received this from the government, but we had a council meeting. I got there about 10 after 7 and there wasn't a soul around, so I apologize on behalf of all of us. Essex MPP Taras Natashak hosted a special evening at his constituency office where he presented Kimber Beek with a special provincial award. The Leading Women, Leading Girls, Building Communities Recognition Program Award recognizes exceptional community leaders who help to improve the lives of girls and women in Ontario. Kim has been a foster parent at the Children's Aid Society for 15 years and a leader with the Holy Name of Jesus Church youth group for 25 years. She sits on the Essex Festival Committee, which is very busy planning the 30th annual Essex Fun Fest, and she also sits on the Essex Police Services Board. By all accounts, Kim's energy and enthusiasm are endless. I see Ma's with you, that's good. So, Kim, if you would come forward.
And of course, you have the opportunity to say something as well after.
So, Kim, on behalf of the Council of the Town of Essex, I'd like to present you with this certificate of appreciation. Thank you for being an outstanding role model, both for the youth, your mentor, for other citizens in our community. Congratulations.
Want to say anything?
All last week, but thank you, council, for inviting me out tonight. And I'm just really grateful for the opportunities to be able to work with the youth and the people in the community. Thanks for acknowledging.
Thank you. Congratulations.
his name here. Now, the next presentation, Council folks, would you like to say something about it? It's Terry Allen? No, it's not Terry Allen. He was here the last time. Dan Gray. Okay, go
Yeah,
ahead, sir.
thank you, Your Worship. We have a gentleman in the Isnate by the name of Dan Gray. I received a call from him earlier as a result of a correspondence he had with our past chairperson of the Spitfire Committee, Mike Beal. And Dan has worked diligently on creating a picture of a photo that he felt was very worthy of being in the town hall. And I just had a chance to look at it just now. And it's really a reflection of the Spitfire and the memorial wall. And his wishes and wants is that he can present it to the mayor tonight and have it hung in the town hall somewhere to be displayed for everybody to see as a result of his proudness in his community, and especially that of Priscilla, the Memorial Spitfire plane, and the heritage, or the memorial wall. Thank you.
So if you'd like to come in the middle, Mr. Gray, good.
Speaking with Mr. Beal, and just as Randy had said, you guys did a lot to support the council and to support the Spitfire Memorial. And he said you guys didn't get a whole lot back in return for that, other than appreciation from them. So I wanted to donate this to the town as a show of appreciation for your support for the Spitfire Memorial and the veterans.
I would like to say, we got plenty back from that group. We look at this how many times? Every day.
Yeah.
So we are appreciative of everything they did with this. And thank you very much on behalf of the council and the whole town of Essex, sir. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Next up, 6.3, Tourism, Windsor, Essex, Peely Island. Mr. Orr and his right-hand young lady. Mrs. Bean. Welcome.
Good evening, Your Worship and members of Essex Town Council. It's indeed a pleasure to be here this evening. Lynette likes the fact you've called her young, but she was really hoping she was going to get flowers and a kiss from the mayor. I think that's what she was hoping for. It's indeed our pleasure to be here. My name is Gordon Orr. I'm the CEO of Tourism Windsor Essex Island, and tonight I'm joined by Lynette Bain, our Vice President of Tourism Programs and Development. We're here tonight as part of a commitment that was made 5 years ago when we assumed the leadership roles at Tourism Windsor Essex Peely Island. We promised that we would attend council meetings on a regular basis, not only at the city and the county council tables, but also at the local level, like we're here this evening, at each town council meeting. This is the 5th of 9 visits we're doing this month. And we do this for a couple of reasons. First, we want to make sure that our elected officials are better informed about the importance of tourism as a job creator and an economic generator. And secondly, we want to provide you the opportunity to ask any questions that you may have of us in this forum tonight. We were last here in these chambers about a year ago on May 16th, 2016, and it's good to be back. Tonight we're here with our latest edition of our 2017-2018 Visitor Guide, which was just released in mid-April, and we've left one of them at each one of your place settings. We also have a brief PowerPoint presentation, followed by the premiere of our new regional video. So with that, we will start the presentation. There's a reminder about our vision, mission, mandate. Vision, of course, is to be a top-of-mind destination offering authentic and diverse visitor experiences. Our mission is to be a tourism industry collaborative committed to enhancing the region's economy and quality of life. Our mandate remains the same with 4 functions: marketing communications, visitor services, event attraction, and product and program development. There you can see our organizational governance, where we have an 11-member board. It is a mix of politicians and stakeholders. You can see that our executive, Mayor Santos, Mayor of Kingsville, of course, is our board chair, and the county council is also represented by directors Warden Bain and Mayor Patterson from Leamington. We are guided by a 5-year strategic plan, which operates under 3 strategic directions: growing the tourism industry and visitor experiences, maximizing key industry partnerships and relationships, and building our capacities to support the tourism industry. Lynette, please.
All right, thank you, Gordon. When we look back at what we've accomplished in the past year as a united visitor industry, we put together a document and we circulated that to all of council members in early March, and that was our 2016 year in review. And tonight we're just going to highlight a few of the more noteworthy accomplishments. We were winners of the 2016 Ontario Culinary Tourism Experience Award for the Epic Wineries Passport, and we were at the Ontario Tourism Summit in November to collect that along with a representative from Epic Wineries. We were also a finalist in the Ontario Culinary Tourism Leadership Award category, and we won an award for our Henry Ford driving and audio tours, and that was through the Motor Cities National Heritage Foundation. Under destination development, we hosted a number of workshops that were more like topical for tourism industry and useful, and those included birding tourism, two-wheeled tourism, and that's cycling and motorcycling, TripAdvisor, and social media. We also launched some new programs. The Barrels, Bottles, and Brews was a trail designed to celebrate the burgeoning craft beer industry, combined with our distilleries, including craft whiskey, vodka, and our iconic brands J.P. Wiser's and Canadian Club. We launched the Regional Tourism Committee, which was developed with town and municipal staff that are charged with tourism portfolio in their day-to-day activities in an effort to enhance communications and enhance synergies of working collectively as a region. We participated at the launch of the Waterfront Trail, and there you can see in the picture of Gordon with the Minister of Tourism, Culture and Sport, Eleanor McMahon, at the launch of the Waterfront Trail on Peely Island. In event development, we hosted 4 signature events, 2 in sports tourism and 2 conventions that attributed significantly to our healthy hotel occupancies and higher than normal average daily rates. For marketing, we ran the 60 Days, 60 Reasons social media campaign running over the summer that featured day trip itineraries to each community, the Best of Windsor Essex campaign, which was a social media campaign designed to have the locals tell us where the visitors would like to go. We also ran the Windsor Essex Staycation Expo and Giveaway, and that was a partnership with Devonshire Mall to host a tourism megaplex of 30-plus exhibitors promoting to 20,000 mall daily visitors. Social media contests also ran to support the idea of staying closer to home. For our social media marketing, you can see that there has been tremendous growth in all of our social media platforms and for our website.
Thank you, Lynette. And under our Canada 50 celebrations, you can see there, we wanted to design a logo. And much like the Canada logo, we wanted to create and rather than a new one, we modified to match the branding of the 50 logo. We also created a hub, We 150.ca, that promotes some related activities relate to Canada 150. This hub is searched or by community. Created the hashtag to encourage to share what they experience along the way. Under our 2017-2018 plan and destination strategy, you can see there that we have 4 areas of focus. They are cultural district initiatives, outdoor, two-wheeled adventures, waterfront. We have food and drink. Under there, culinary and bottles and brews. And under entertainment category is gaming, events, and shopping. Our 2017-2018 market continues with plenty of reasons, recognizing that tourism assets with.
Gordon, if I could interrupt you, please. Maybe you could use Annette's microphone, because it keeps going off and on, yours. I don't know what the problem is, but
Look how well I share.
Oh, that's nice. Good evening.
Thank you.
Your worship. Oh, should we start again? No, okay. No, okay. Well, Lynette's now older, actually. Okay. All right. So I'll just mention that this is our Plenty of Reasons campaign. We have no one iconic reason to visit. We have numerous reasons to come visit our tourism assets, and there's that campaign. Lynette.
Thanks, Gordon. I'll take it from here. All right, we also developed a U.S. cross-border initiative, and obviously that's to capitalize on the continuation of the strong U.S. dollar and capture more of the U.S. leisure market. And we're launching this with some help from local tourism stakeholders, as well as receipt of a grant from the Ontario Tourism Marketing Partnership for $30,000, and that's OTMPC. This is a campaign centered around our hashtag Plenty of Reasons to Visit, and it will launch in Q3 and run Q3 and Q4 of this year. So on the screen is a list of the funding partners. Is that on the next slide? That one is right there. Okay, the list of the funding partners this year so far have contributed to this $100,000 campaign. We've also recently, for our stakeholder initiative, launched a partner portal for our website, and this is an effort to build on our capacities to support our stakeholders in a secure, convenient, efficient, and effective way. The portal was tested during the solicitation of sales for the visitor guide that started in January. Feedback so far has been very positive. The portal is being used to update stakeholder information, uploading photos and submitting events to the calendar, the download of industry reports, and to talk about stakeholder opportunities and partnership opportunities. We recently, in June, launched the Windsor Essex Coffee Trail, and that was at our tourism open house, and it's promoting locally owned businesses in Windsor Essex who serve quality artisanal coffee, and it's actually the first of its kind in Ontario. We've created a landing page on our existing website that are exclusive to members of the trail, demonstrating what makes their location and coffee unique. You're seeing right now on the screen our year-over-year figures of 2016 versus 2015. So more Americans came by car, a 4% increase, and more people flew into YQG, over 40% growth. Our hotel figures are very encouraging and seeing some positive growth. And our marketing efforts have driven traffic to our website and grown some of our social media channels.
Thank you, Lynette. And a little more up to date, for our first quarter 2017, you can see year-over-year growth in hotel occupancy by about 1.5%, with close to a $5 increase in the average daily room rate. Also, you can see on all of our social media platforms, positive growth continues. I'd mentioned earlier about our visitor guide. You have it before you. It's our 2017-2018 visitor guide. It grew to 88 pages this year based on demand from our stakeholders and wanting to buy listings and advertisements, which we appreciate. We print 95,000 copies of these books, and we distribute them throughout Ontario, Michigan, and Ohio. This month, one of the reasons why we're here is it's Tourism Month. We have a number of activations planned to promote the importance of this industry to our region and to celebrate all of the good work that is happening within a united visitor industry. About a week and a half ago, we hosted our annual general meeting on June 8th at the Capitol Theatre and had some heavy hitters as speakers relevant to the tourism industry. Beth Potter is the President and CEO of the Tourism Industry Association of Ontario. And of course, the Honourable Eleanor McMahon, the Minister of Tourism, Culture and Sport, joined us, and about 120 people in attendance. For our golfers out there, our 6th annual Premier Tourism Windsor Essex Peel Island Golf Tournament is Monday, September the 18th at Kingsville Golf and Country Club. Save the date. And I'd be remiss to, Your Worship, if I didn't thank some key members of your administration that we work with on a daily basis. They are, of course, Nelson Severa, your Economic Development Officer, Lori Brett, who is your communications person, and of course your Director of Community Services, Mr. Doug Sweet, and we thank them all very much for their engagement. So thank you very much for your time this evening, and more importantly for continuing to invest in tourism and your support of Tourism Windsor Essex Peely Island. We'd like to conclude now by showing you our new regional video, and then we'd be happy to take any of your questions, and the video is only about 45 minutes. I'm kidding, it's a couple of minutes. Here we go, so we escape out of there, and it's right there. Thank you, Your Worship. That concludes our presentation. We'd be happy to take any questions that you may have.
Councillor Caxero?
Through your worship, more of a comment, just to thank you guys for the great work you do on our behalf. It leaves me fairly confident that without really having to do a whole lot on our own, it's being done for us through you guys. I mean, obviously, we try to do our own stuff too, but it certainly, I think, is more far-reaching, and you do a great job, so keep up the good work.
Deputy Mayor Malash?
Thank you for the presentation. I got to see it at County Council as well, but it was good to see it a second time. One of the questions that I get asked on a fairly regular basis from businesses in town that deal with tourism is about the tourism booth at the bridge, the reception center for tourism, and how it's been closed. And I'm just wondering if you can shed any light on whether or not there's any chance of that closure being reconsidered, and whether there's forces in the area that are continuing to put pressure on the ministry. I know we had Miss Eleanor McMahon down here last week. I kind of mentioned it to her when I seen her, but just wondering if there's any chance that there might be a resurrection of that site.
Thank you for the question, through your worship, to the Deputy Mayor, and thank you for attending our annual general meeting too. We appreciate it. It's a good question. We're asked that question quite a bit, actually. And I think that there's no chance of resurrecting the facility as it sits now. That being said, we have had conversations with the Windsor-Detroit Bridge Authority on the importance of, if they create some sort of sense of arrival, if they have some sort of a plaza that's going to be attached. And the big questions are if, because I don't think those discussions or decisions have necessarily been made yet, that it would be great to be able to promote the area. And a number of the tourism stakeholders are on these focus groups that the Windsor-Detroit Bridge Authority have. So we've gotten that message to them, much like we did, and certainly supported the efforts of making sure the bike lanes were on the bridge. So we're having those conversations. We certainly continue to monitor our visitor services delivery program. And, you know, I know that it's past us, but the good news is we are in contact with the ministry. Numbers are up at the Tilbury center. I know that that's past us, but they've still got the information, and those talented employees in there are still promoting all of our assets here too. Another thing that we have that's going to be on our side of the equation is in October we're going to be hosting the regional travel counselors from all across the province that work in centers much like the one that closed, and helping educate them on the assets of this region ourselves. So we'll be doing that as well. So I don't know, Deputy Mayor, if I've answered your question. I know that it's on their radar. I know that we've mentioned it to them, but as far as I know, no firm decisions have been made.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Vokes?
Thank you, Your Worship. Gordon, first of all, I want to extend a thanks for your participation in our Essex Rocks and Roll Car Show, and especially participating in the deliverance and the picture-taking opportunity of the Memorial Cup being there. So I want to thank you for that. But really, the next time you come to council, I really would like to see you take that nice suit off, and the young lady, the two of you, if you will, come in here with a t-shirt that says, "We are tangible." And the reason I ask you to wear that t-shirt that says "We are tangible," if the definition of tangible means, as you probably know, you can touch it or you can see it. And as a result of your work and your peers and colleagues' work, it makes you tangible. And we see it all over the place. We see the fruits of your labor. It's kind of really alludes to what Councillor Caxero said. So, and again, it can be reiterated with your participation at our local car show. But with that being said, I really would like to see you find in your budget to get those t-shirts, start wearing around that says "We are tangible," because you do make a difference in our community. No doubt about it. In my 14 years on council, I've seen a lot of people sit there with a lot of presentations, but when I go out the door, I look around and I can't see it. I see what you're doing and what you're doing, young lady, and I got great appreciation for that. So I thank you for spending your time here with us tonight and updating us on all your efforts. Thank you very much.
Anything further? Thank you for your presentation, and safe trip home, and I will ask now for receipt of the presentation. Councillor Caxero, Councillor Bondi, any comments, questions? All in favor? Motion carried. Have a great evening. Thank you very much.
Your Worship, next item on the agenda, as moved up from item 15.2, is Councillor Vogt's notice of motion from the June 5th regular council meeting that administration review and council discuss the flooding issues in Viscount Estates as it relates to runoff from the lands owned by the Essex Region Conservation Authority. Looking for a seconder on that notice of motion, and I believe Kevin Money from IRCA is here this evening for discussion purposes.
Okay, I have Councillor Snively supporting, and at the same time, could we include having Mr. Money be allowed to speak there, or is it in there? Okay? Is that fine with everyone? Okay, all in favor? Motion carries. Welcome, Mr. Money, how are you?
I'm good, thank you, and thank you for letting me come tonight.
Folks, we'll let you lead her off, sir.
Thank you, Worship. And Kevin, I appreciate you taking the time to come out here tonight. Obviously, I had some concerns from a vast amount of residents along in this particular area of Viscount Estates as it relates to flooding. And it was one of those isolated events that really the needle was pointed to a single-handedly as a councillor trying to resolve that particular issue by myself. And that wasn't going to happen. I obviously felt it was in the best interest of the residents of Viscount and again in this particular area to have all the council participate in trying to come up with a resolution to the flooding concerns, and hence the reason why I added it on to council, and hence the reason we're here tonight to have some candid discussions about how we can arrest, if you will, that flooding problem specific to that area. So if I could, through you, Your Worship, I really would like to hear from from Kevin Money on terms of how they see it.
Mr. Money?
Through you, Mayor, I think that maybe to me, I don't think I'm fully aware of the full nature of what you're speaking of as it relates to the concerns or the complaints. So I think that a starting point for me would be to get more familiar with the complaints that have come to you directly, because we haven't received any complaints from anybody in, I think, over a year, to be quite honest.
Then let me take a minute and fill you in then. Because what had happened was when the residents complained to me about it, I had talked to the owner or the proprietor or the board, if you will, of Viscount Estates. And I was directed by them that they've had several meetings with IRCA in terms of the water runoff dispersing onto these people's property. And what the arrow and what the needle's pointing at is that IRCA doesn't have money to fix their problem. That's what I'm being told. So if IRCA doesn't have money to fix that water runoff problem, that's not my problem. That's IRCA's problem. But West Nile is my problem, and what's happening to residents is my problem. So if you're not aware of that, then that's what's happening. So just to enlighten you a little bit, you must have had some discussions with somebody about that particular problem and the fact of the financial aspect of it is not profoundly there to resolve the problem, unless I'm misguided by what I'm being told.
Councillor Snively?
Your Worship, I sit on the board of directors with IRCA, and that's never ever come forward. I go to every meeting. I don't miss meetings, and that's never been discussed at IRCA, at the board. So really, this is new to me too. I know it was brought up the last council meeting, but wasn't brought up at the board of directors, so I can't see how you would know either, Kevin, to be honest with you.
Okay, Mr. Money and then Councillor Vokes.
If I may, Councillor Vokes and Councillor Stanley, what I'm going to suggest is that we have had some discussions with the management out of Toronto who owns that facility as it relates to encroachments. And oftentimes the perception of what is owned by who is a bit of an issue at this particular site because there's a series of encroachments on this along this section of the abandoned rail line where the trail is. I've had a series of conversations with your administration on previous files, and I'd be quite happy to attend site meetings and go through the municipal drainage program and process, which to me would seem like a reasonable solution to the problem. I've done that before with your administration. I'd be happy to do so again. I don't think that there's any fear on behalf of the authority to enter into those types of agreements. We have multiple municipal drains throughout the region along our greenways. We always pay our bills, and I don't think there's a reluctance to be a responsible landowner.
So my question to you would be, the first step, get someone from the Viscount to write a letter to IRCA requesting.
Through you, Chair, I would like to even just bypass that step and suggest that your drainage superintendent attend on site with staff if possible, and initiate the drainage process if we want.
Okay. I have Mr. Nepsey, Director of Infrastructure and Development.
Through your worship, the situation is a little unique that way between the two parties are involved, are IRCA and the Viscount Estates. It's not with respect to the town. So I can't, as the road authority, petition a municipal drain in this instance. We can when it's directly affecting the road, but it would be something that, you know, we have had some preliminary discussions with Mr. Money and with Mr. Braganza, who's the, I guess, the point man for the estates, as far as it's something that two civil parties here need to come together and either look at putting in a municipal drain or, you know, petitioning. There's the petition process that's allowed through the Municipal Drainage Act, where you're looking at a certain percentage of landowner that's required that are in favor of moving forward. And that's definitely something that we can guide, as we have with every other landowner in town, guide both IRCA and Viscount Estates down that path as far as municipal drainage, if that's an avenue that they wish to approach. Mr. Braganza has never mentioned that to me before. Really, as Mr. Money has noted, the initial discussions really started on more of the property line issue. You know, there are, I know, some stormwater issues on both events, I guess. Really, a lot of the residents that back onto the IRCA property are draining their land onto that property. IRCA does not have to accept that water, which they currently are. So there's a few issues at hand here, but that's something that, by all means, if we can help facilitate both parties move forward, that's something we'd be more than willing to do.
Okay, thank you, sir. Councillor Snively.
Through your worship, and Kevin, I think the only way to resolve this would be to get on-site, like you say, on-site meeting with management of Viscount and ourselves. I think that's the only way to resolve this. So if we get through to management and with the authority, we'll meet with them and see what can be worked out there. I think that's the only way we can go here. Because you're not aware, you're really not aware of the whole problem, so.
So that's, Mr. Nepsey?
Through your worship, I think it's important to note too, I know there are hundreds of Essex residents within Viscount Estates, but the owner is the person that we need to address and need to talk to. They need to come forward and discuss these issues with us, with IRCA. So, you know, I sympathize with the residents that live within that, but they have a process and a policy to follow within, and need to address it to their board, then that Viscount comes to us as the owner of the property, and we can move forward that way, I think. And that hasn't happened to date, not on this issue anyways.
So the recommendation probably to Councillor Vokes would be to get someone from the Viscount to speak with their board, which they do have a board there, and bring it to their attention so they can contact that gentleman that owns that property and everything. But anyways, Councillor Vokes.
I was left under the impression they done that. I don't know why I am, but I'm left under the impression that there was some correspondence, but let's assume there's not. So can we just work in terms of what Councillor Snively is saying? Can we do a site visit with the representatives from Viscount Estates, the representatives from IRCA, and we'll go there, and if it's deemed not to be your problem as a result of that site meeting, that's not your problem. But if there's tentatively opportunity for IRCA water runoff to be there, as agreed upon all those who are participating in the site visit, then that has to be addressed. Either way, it has to somehow, that first step has to be taken on addressing it. And I think we're all trying to figure out what that first step would be. And probably the healthiest thing to do, instead of all of us trying to sit here and assume and point and wonder and dismiss, just do a site visit and really get a true assessment of what's happening there. And then take the next step. That's what I'd really like to see happen.
My question, sir, is who's going to put this together? Like, that's the problem. Mr. Money.
Through you, Mayor, I'd be happy to coordinate a meeting between town administration, Councillor Vokes, and Viscount Estate representatives.
I'd love that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that, sir. Good. And that's at your earliest convenience, I hope, eh? Good. Anything further?
Just if I could.
Councillor Vokes?
Kevin, I really do want to thank you for coming out tonight. I appreciate your work and your help on it, and quickly rise and to say, I'll take the lead on that. I do appreciate that. Thank you.
Motion to receive this. Councillor Cashier, Councillor Bondi, all in favor? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Money. Have a great evening.
Your Worship, 8.1 on the agenda under reports from administration is Human Resources Report 2017-06, Performance Management Program Policies. That said report be received and that the human resource policies referenced in that report be adopted as presented.
Councillor Cashier moves, supported by Deputy Mayor Malash. Any questions? Councillor Bondi.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My question through you is to our Human Resources Manager, Tara McGowan. Were there any comments from the union on this? Like, was it well received?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, the union did have a number of questions. Some of the language in the policies wasn't familiar to them, as the town hasn't had a program like this in place before. But there was no real questions, nothing that was out of line with our current collective agreement, which would take precedence. So they did have some curiosities, but no concerns.
Further? All in favor? Motion carries.
8.2 is Community Services Report 2017-018, First Defense Martial Arts Lease at Essex Recreation Complex. This, together with Bylaw 1617, being a bylaw to authorize the execution of the said lease agreement. This report's for receipt, and that council approves entering into an agreement with First Defense for lease space at 242 Talbot Street North, subject to the general terms and conditions as outlined in Bylaw 1617, and that Bylaw 1617 receive first, second, and third readings this evening.
Have Councillor Snively and Councillor Cashier with the head shake. So, any questions? All in favor? Motion carries.
8.3, Community Services Report 2017-019, Special Events Resource Team June Update for receipt.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Malash, supported by Councillor Caxero. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carries.
8.4, Community Services, 2017-020, Essex Minor Baseball 60 Years Celebration. That this report be received and that council approves the request for relief from the town's noise bylaw 690 on July 15th for Essex Minor Baseball's 60th anniversary celebration, and further that the Essex OPP be notified of the exemption.
Moved by Councillor Bondi, supported by Councillor Caxero. Any comments or questions? Councillor Caxero.
Through your worship, I heard they're going to have a radar gun there. Are you going to be pitching that that afternoon?
Doesn't go that slow. But they are going to have a dunk tank that I told them they should have one because I would be in it and there'd be lots of throwing at it, so yes. And if you haven't got one of these yet and they just came out, I know the Branch 201, that the Legion has them. It's the only one I've seen so far in town that has these. There's a beautiful, beautiful piece of work, I think, that they did. All in favor of that motion? Motion carries.
8.5, Infrastructure and Development, 2017-06, results of request for tender for the supply of a single axle plow truck and request for proposal for the supply of winter control equipment for a single axle plow truck. That said report be received and that council awards the request for tender for the supply of the plow truck to Team Truck Centers in the amount of $125,877.12, including taxes, and that council awards the request for proposal for the supply of winter control equipment to Viking Sieves in the amount of $107,803.96, including taxes.
Moved by Councillor Volk, supported by Councillor Caxero. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carries.
8.6, Infrastructure and Development, 2017-07, results of request for tender, rehabilitation of culverts, 2017.
Moved by Councillor Bondi, supported by Councillor Caxero. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carries.
8.7, Corporate Services, Information Technology, 2017-01, that said report be received and that council directs administration to finalize negotiations and enter into an agreement with Bell Canada as it pertains to the Bell Small Cell Master License Agreement.
By Deputy Mayor Malash, supported by Councillor Caxero. Questions? Councillor Bondi.
Okay, I got to play a little sneaksies. It's not related, but it's a bell box on the corner of Victoria and Center Street. Dan Boudreau is aware of it. The bell box is fallen over. I'm worried about town liability because we keep putting a bag on it. Dan Boudreau doesn't have a really good contact at Bell Canada, but I see here we may have a contact at Bell Canada. So it's on the corner of Victoria and Center Street in Harrow. I'm worried about liability. We really need to get somebody to look at that bell box that's been down for like 3 months.
Someone will take that job on. Anything further? All in favor? Motion carries.
Item 10, any updates from County Council this evening?
I do have one that from our last council meeting, it's a week and a half, and I'm sorry. I think I passed something on to our acting CEO, Donna Hunter, with regards to saving money for, or earning free money for your child's education. Anyways, a week and a few days ago, we had Adam Vasey, Director of Advocacy and Outreach, Downtown Mission of Windsor, come with this presentation, and I will get it to you. Like, here it is, it's up here right now, where there's free money available through the government. And I'll make sure I have some time now that we will all get this forwarded to each one of us. Any of your friends, your family members, anyone is able to apply for this. Not everyone can, it's a financial thing, so, but I'll make sure you all get the information with regards to this. Like I said, Mr. Vasey was there a week or so ago. Councillor Caxero.
Through you, and I think I read something, the fact that child has to be born 2004 or later.
204 and later, yep. Anything else? Councillor Bondi.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Not really county council related, but I just want to ask if, from the landfill liaison committee, if we can again have an update on the auto shredder fluff levels. I don't know how we can get that information, just because auto shredder fluff seems to be increasing year to year to year. So I want to see where it was at 2014, 2015, 2016, 2018.
I will get that information at our next meeting, which is finally coming up. I don't think we've had one for at least 3 meetings, but there's one. I've been promised as chair that there is a meeting coming up, so I'll get that for you. Thank you. All in favor of the motion? Motion carried. Oh, sorry, that was just an update, right, from county council.
So, Your Worship, that information you just gave on the Canada Learning Bond, that is included in correspondence tonight, but I can also distribute that. Next item, 11, correspondence, 11.1, correspondence to be received, that the correspondence listed in that item be received and where indicated to further share with the community using suitable methods of communication.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Melange, supported by Councillor Caxero. Councillor Bondi, question?
Sorry, I'm just scrolling through really fast on to try to find out where we are here. The Association of Municipalities of Ontario, AMO, the communications from the province regarding emergency services, including dispatch and fire medics. So these are some of the concerns I have, and I just wanted to bring it up. I've been working today with paramedics online. So, and it's unfortunate that our fire chief isn't here, because what we see, and we even saw it tonight in our fire meeting, that medical calls seem to be the #1 calls right now that we have for our fire department. So if you have one person hurt, you have 15 men and 2 fire trucks blaring down the road. So there's also risk in use with our fire trucks. Hospitals and doctors are concerned. Really what it is, and we need to have an opinion about this, we need to do something with it, I feel, very urgently, because the province is downloading. How they're downloading is they don't pay, the province doesn't pay us for our fire. They pay half of our EMS. But instead of putting more ambulances on the road, they're saying, how can we use our fire? So it's really, we're not sending the most appropriate service to our residents. Ambulances for medical problems are the most beneficial for patient outcomes. So, when we, I don't know what but when ambulances are unable to respond, then that's when we bring in our fire. But because of our aging population, because of our growing population in the area, more and more often ambulances are less likely to respond. So that means they're sending out some fire. And so so I've been told they have less training than paramedics on medical issues. Like, you don't want your plumber to come and do your electrical, even though he may know how to do some electrical. So at the end of the day, the ambulances are still needed to transport. So what we really need to do is we need to send a message to the province that we don't want them to take paramedic services away from paramedics. And we really need more ambulances on the road, and we really need hospital spaces to free up more often, so that ambulances can drop off their patients and get back on the road, because there's that backlog that we all know about. The solution is to not have more fire trucks on the road. So it's a way of downloading. We need to fix our hospital system, and we need to get more ambulances. So I don't know what we can do with this communications from AMO, but the downloading is not acceptable. And I don't know if any other council members have an opinion here or what we can do, but I just needed to rant about that.
I think you could make a recommendation that we send that on to our representatives in the government,
We certainly can, Mr. Mayor, but it would be up to council what we want to send. Like, that's just my rant. There could be other opinions. I know Richard probably has an opinion because his family has some medical.
Deputy Mayor Melange, come.
Thank you. No, I totally agree with what you're saying. I've brought this up before when the fire chief actually was here once to talk about it, that we've got to be really careful about how we download these services to our fire department, because it's exactly right. It's a way that the province is mulling around the issue and trying to have, again, downloading to the municipal level expenses that should be uploaded to the province. So I totally agree with what you're saying, and I think we need to send a letter, and copy all the other municipalities here in the county to, is it Dr. Hodgkins? Hodgkins? Minister of Health and Long-Term Care. So I would agree with Councillor Bondi. It's worthwhile sending something and letting them know that we're not happy about it.
Councillor Bondi?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On that point, hasn't there been some articles recently in the Windsor Star that Amherstburg is demanding more ambulance service? And doesn't Leamington Fire Department not take medical calls? So what is really important is patient outcomes. If having fire respond to medical calls is the best thing for patient outcomes, then, well, okay, sign me up. But if, and really, I don't know if we know the stats right now for that, but what we need to be careful is number one, downloading. And I think it's not going to hurt to have more ambulances on the road. And I think when I was talking to a paramedic today, he said Amherstburg is putting their foot down, demanding more ambulances. So how can we ensure the right number of EMS services for our population? So maybe we have to work with our fire chief here on that.
Okay.
Thank you, through you, your worship. Amherstburg is asking for a review of pockets of under-serviced areas. They feel that some of their areas with the town of Amherstburg, and I too have brought this up with our chief of EMS, that the McGregor area and a little bit more west of McGregor, that area is not, the call time to get to that area seems to be longer than a lot of other areas in the county. And that's probably the worst area. So that's what Amherstburg's bringing up, the fact that they believe that there's more service that's required in that area. But it's a county decision overall, whether or not we're going to, and recommendation from the EMS itself as to where we're going to put more service when we put more service in place as a county. There was something else that you had said. As far as, perhaps that's what we should be doing, is having the conversation with our fire chief too, as to, letting him know or having some discussion on why they feel that they should be responding to these calls, and maybe we can say only on certain priority calls, because the EMS dispatch is the one that actually determines where that call is going to go. If they feel it's going to be more advantageous for our resident to be serviced by our fire department than an ambulance, then they call the fire department, or sometimes they call both and tell them whoever can get there first. But I think that it's true that we need to have something more defined as far as who answers those calls, because, like you said, Leamington's made that decision that their fire department's not going to answer those calls. And perhaps we should be looking at it too. Now, but then again, are we putting our residents at greater risk by not having somebody who could potentially get there first, to maybe do a defib or to start CPR or something like that? And all firefighters are trained in those instances for that kind of a call. So we really have to take a look at it and see. In some instances it probably makes sense to have the firefighters respond, but in all instances, let's make sure that they're not going to every instance.
Mrs. Hunter?
Through you, Your Worship, I'm going to suggest maybe at the next council meeting, or if the chief is in attendance, that they present a verbal report to council on this before we do any letters out. Okay?
Have Councillor Vokes and Councillor Bondi.
Thank you, Your Worship. I quite frankly think it's a cost the municipality should bear. Look at, the reality is that our fire department service is number 3 bypass. Probably one of the most unsafest roads in the province of Ontario. And the statistics show that. So when it comes to dollars and cents, I personally myself have no interest in jeopardizing the safety of the residents in which I represent, who travel that road every day, when they're off on the side of the road in the median with a steering column through their chest, when the first responders get there and the fire department doesn't participate in it, and they need the jaws of life to get them out. And to even suggest the idea of changing that policy and that procedure is really shortcoming and irresponsible to the real safety of people of our community. It's not broke, let's not fix it. I know it's a financial strain, but at the same time, the policies and procedures work today, and the reason they have the fire department respond is because their case history shows many incidents like that where they needed to be there.
Sir, Councilor Bondi?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the province is proposing changes. So they feel it is broke, so they're looking to fix it. I have no problem with fire showing up. I have a problem with the lack of ambulances on the road. I think there's two separate issues. The lack of ambulance is the biggest issue. Unless all firefighters are trained as paramedics, then that's the issue. If firefighters can get there first, that's great. But the reason why firefighters are getting there first is because our ambulances are rare and tied up. I don't want ambulances to be shortcoming and then all tied up at hospitals. So we have to deal with the wait list, the wait at the hospital, and the fact that we have changing demographics in our area that require more ambulances. We have more older people, more slips, more falls, more heart attacks, whatever that is. More seniors moving into our area. So it's a complicated issue. And the province is going to change it. So I think we should just consult with our staff and provide input into that changing, whatever that may be.
Thank you. Councilor Snively?
Through your worship, I don't know if the paramedics are called out. Are they still called out for lifts, patient lifts at nursing homes and that? I know that was a problem in the past where they were tied up. And a call would come in and they're tied up on a lift at a nursing home. So I think that's where a lot of the problems are. We're tying up ambulance service for nursing home lifts and to take them up to the hospital or wherever. I mean, that's not an emergency call to me. So
We gotta find out.
yeah, and I like to find out. Well, I think our fire chief should answer that anyways next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think.
Motion to receive. Councilor Caxero?
Through your worship, I believe there was a motion to receive the correspondence already, and it's in the correspondence. She was just speaking to the one piece of correspondence. So, through you, I guess the direction from the CAO was to have the fire chief here and maybe give us a verbal on maybe what we can present as our case to AMO or to the ministry based on the changes that might be forthcoming. So give our point of view.
Yes, sir.
11.2.1, that the correspondence from the municipality of Brockton opposing the provincial government's proposed amendment to the Conservation Authorities Act be received or received and supported.
Councilor Caxero?
Motion to receive and support.
Deputy Mayor seconds. Oh, any questions? All in favor? Motion carries.
Item 12 on the agenda, 12.1, are the meeting minutes from the Finance Committee from June 2nd, 2017. That said committee meeting minutes be adopted as presented with the recommendations to council noted.
Moved by Councilor Bondi, supported by Councilor Caxero. Any questions, comments? All in favor? Motion carries.
Item 14, as added to new business this evening, is correspondence from Matt Cruikshank of 115 Allison in Harrell. Mr. Cruikshank's looking for request for relief from bylaw number 1606, being the animal control bylaw, specifically section 3.04, in regard to the number of dogs, and which states that no person or household shall own in excess of 3 dogs at any one time. Mr. Cruikshank is looking for council's support to grant their request on compassionate grounds to own and care for 4 dogs until one of the said dogs passes away.
Moved by Councillor Vogt, supported by Councillor Snively. Any questions? Deputy Mayor Malash.
Do we know how old these dogs are?
Just thinking that myself. I don't know. We didn't hear. Clerk said he has.
I do know a little bit of information. I know that one is a puppy that is a difficult they're all fixed now, but one is a puppy that is a difficult puppy that they couldn't find a home for because he was a little, so that's the one they're wanting to keep, is the little puppy that they can't, it's not adoptable. And I did tell them, I said, you know, council does grant this on the condition that when the 4th dog dies, you don't go back to having 4 dogs. So that can be even stated in the letter. They're little dogs, though, too.
Yeah. 4 dachshunds.
Anything further? All in favor? Motion carries.
15.1, under notices motion, is Councillor Bondi's notice of motion from the June 5th, 2017 meeting, that bylaw 1606, being the current animal control bylaw, be revised to allow dog tags issued by another municipality to be recognized as valid in the town in the year that a resident from another municipality moves to and becomes a resident of the town, provided the dog tag originally issued by the other municipality is valid. And if council so agrees, that bylaw 1618, being a bylaw to amend the animal control bylaw accordingly, be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed this evening.
Has been moved by Councillor Bondi, supported by Deputy Mayor Malash. Any questions? Councillor Bondi.
Thank you. So this it just occurred to me like a couple weeks ago. I have new neighbors on Wellington Street, and they moved in, and they moved from LaSalle because they got a great price on their house, and they stole the house in Harrow. And I saw their dog, and I was like, ooh, we could tag that dog. And then I saw that the dog had a LaSalle dog tag. And then I was thinking, well, if we can encourage people to move into our municipality and say their dog tag is still valid from wherever they are from, bring it into Town Hall or either the computer store in Harrow and trade it in for an Essex dog tag, now we have them in our system. Now, for the remaining years of that dog's life, we can get the money from that. And it's like a friendly thing, you know, come in here, come to Essex, you can get a dog tag free. So I just thought, you know, why not? I talked to Melanie Coulter at the Humane Society. She's heard of other towns doing it, but nobody locally does it yet. So here we can. I know I'm not within my 6 months, Councillor Caxero, but I just thought, why not? Why isn't dog tags in Essex County transferable? If I move from Essex to Kingsville, why can't I take my dog tag with me for the year? I already paid for it. So I think that this should be going to the county. Like, this is big. Why aren't people doing this? So I think here again, Essex could lead the way. It's a $2 cost for us the first year, but then we have them in our system, and then we don't have to track them down, and it's a revenue source.
Good idea. All in favor? Oh, Councillor Caxero first.
Through you, and the amount of people that'll buy houses in Essex now are just gonna grow by.
Hopefully.
It's a good selling point.
All in favor? Motion carries.
15.2 was already dealt with this evening. 15.3, as added to the agenda this evening, is Councillor Bondi introducing a notice of motion for the July 4th regular council meeting.
Councillor Bondi?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So for our July 4th council meeting, I would just like council to have a discussion about requesting a report from administration on Court of Revision attendance numbers for the past 5 years.
Okay, I got it.
Thank you.
Okay. Item 16 on the agenda, any reports from council members this evening?
I think, Councillor Caxero, you were first last time, were you? So we'll start with Councillor Snively.
It's Tune Up the Parks. It's our music thing, and it starts at, I believe, 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock, and it's at the Park at Harrow, right beside the post office.
In here?
Yep, that's our first one.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Bundy.
Mr. Mayor, can you come back to me?
I sure can. Next week. No, 2 weeks from now. No, I'm kidding you. Deputy Mayor Melange.
Thank you, through your worship. Couple of very successful events at Coan Park. Unfortunately, we didn't have any other fellow councillors that were able to make it out for that weekend, but it was a very busy weekend at the park. We had a fundraiser the evening of Saturday, June the 10th, and that was to raise money for new recreation equipment at the park. But we had a nice dinner, and Leo Dufour led the way with a comedy routine and a couple of fellow comedians that he brought out that were very funny, and everybody had a really great time. The other thing is the Music Fest, annual Music Fest. This is the 28th year of the annual Music Fest at McGregor at Coan Park, and that event has been raising somewhere between $26,000 and $28,000 a year for our Essex Windsor Regional Cancer Center, and that money is used to help buy new lazy boy chairs for those that are taking chemo treatment. We buy gel mattresses for those persons that are in the hospital for an extended period of time with their cancer treatment, so they don't get bed sores, and all kinds of good things that that money's used for to make life better for those who are experiencing a bad point in time in their life with cancer. So thank you to all the residents that volunteered their time and came out and supported the Essex Windsor Regional Cancer Center through the McGregor Music Festival. And that's it, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Councillor Oakes. Okay. Councillor Bonnie.
Thank you. It's more of an announcement, but that's okay. I'll do my announcements and reports all in one. Just wanted to announce the Harrow and Colchester Chamber of Commerce is doing a Canada 150 Day celebration. It's Saturday, July 1st from 4:30 to 10 o'clock. It's a free event. There's going to be music. Spencer for Hire is playing. There's going to be bouncy castles. And it's going to be at the Harrow Fairgrounds. There's fireworks at 10. There's fun activities going on all day. So if you can make it out, it's 4:30 to 10 o'clock, Saturday, July 1st at the Harrow Fairgrounds. Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, yes, sir. Deputy
Is there
Mayor.
tickets in advance, or is it just admission at the show up? And are any of the bouncy castles for adults?
No. No, you don't. I play in my sons with my great-grandkids, too. Anyways.
Item 17, announcements. Sorry.
Okay,
You started, you left after. That's right.
Councillor, did we? Oh, Councillor Caxero. We're trying to speed it up.
Through you, I usually don't say anything. So today I do have some, but I'll just add to Larry's comment. He forgot to mention that he's going to be the one announcing the event in Harrow. That's why he mentioned it, the Tune Up the Park. So he'll be your commentator that night. So make sure you show up to see Larry on the mic. Probably not as good as Leo Dufour, but he'll be there.
You'll be okay, don't worry. Okay, you got it.
Yep, sorry about that, Your Worship. Any announcements this evening?
Looks like there aren't any.
Moving to item 18, bylaws. 18.1, bylaws that require third and final reading. Bylaw number 1612, to adopt being a bylaw to adopt a community improvement plan for Colchester Center.
Moved by Councillor Vogt, supported by Councillor Caxero. Questions? On favor? Motion carries.
Bylaw 1614, being the confirming bylaw from the proceedings of the June 5th regular council meeting.
Moved by Councillor Bundy, and someone said support here. Deputy Mayor Melange. Okay. Any questions? On favor? Motion carries.
Bylaw 1615 being a bylaw to acquire and assume lands for the purpose of dedication as a public highway for third reading.
Councillor Cacchiaro and Councillor Bundy, comment from our acting CEO, Mrs. Hunter.
Through you, Your Worship, I just wanted to let you know that we were able to meet with Mr. Colomino last week and the week before, and we have a signed agreement now in place, and we have the security deposit in place, so we're good to go.
Councillor Bundy.
Thank you. So, the Selleck Road is open. Newsflash, the Selleck Road is open. So thank you. I'd just like to thank staff for working their butt off in the past couple of weeks, meeting with the developers, I know 2 or 3 times. So thank you, much appreciated.
We gotta pass it.
Yeah, still, yeah, to the motion.
Okay, we're gonna vote on this motion. All in favor? Motion carries.
18.3, bylaws for first and second reading. Bylaw 1619 being the confirming bylaw from the proceedings of this June 19th regular council meeting.
Moved by Councillor Cacchiaro, supported by Deputy Mayor Milosh. Questions? All in favor? Motion carries. Councillor Cacchiaro.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you very much, sir. Supported by Deputy Mayor Milosh. All in favor? Motion carries. Thank you and have a great night, everyone.